You know, if we're just willing to listen sometimes uh, and take a moment to see what God has to say for us, you know, He will actually talk to us. He'll tell us things that we need to hear, that we need to learn. And God wanted to kind of give me a little bit of a lesson, maybe a little reminder, you know, about things I needed to be working on in my life. Like I said, I ain't perfect, far from it. But one night I had a dream, and pretty much all this dream consisted of was a little comic strip, a little black and white comic strip, you know, about 5 panels on it, just drawn in black and white on a little white piece of paper type thing. It had 5 panels, like I said, and all it was very simple. Maybe it's simple art because I couldn't draw very good for drawing art. God could do better, but He made this simple for me, you know. But the only character in this was one character in the artwork. It was a little stick figure like you'd see on Hangman, you know, the little Hangman game where you draw a little circle in the straight stick body and 2 sticks for an arm, 2 sticks for legs. That was the only character in this, and the little character is standing in the first panel, leaning on a little shovel, looking at a pile of dirt on the ground. And the little word bubble over a little character is saying, "There's something I supposed to remember." He's kind of scratching his head, trying to, what was it I remember? Well, the second panel, you see this little stick figure digging like mad. He's throwing dirt everywhere. He's digging as fast as he can. And he's about halfway down in the hole, and he's throwing dirt in the air, and there's dirt flying all across the picture. And he's yelling, "I got to dig my way out of this mess. I got to fix this problem. I got to dig my way out of it. I know I can do it. I'll get it done." Third picture, you don't even see him no more because all that's there now is this huge gaping hole in the ground. There's dirt piled everywhere, scattered all over the place. And there's a voice coming out of the ground. And he's yelling, "God, help me out of this mess I dug myself into. I went and made it much worse. Help, what am I supposed to do? How do I get out of this hole?" Third picture, you see God has reached down in the hole now. He's picked him up. He's setting him down on the ground. And he's kind of dusting him off a little bit here. And the guy's hanging still kind of by the back collar. And he's holding on to that shovel with one hand. And they're being set down on the ground. He's looking up at God. And God's saying, "My child, what have you learned?" And he said, "I learned to give it to you, God. Shouldn't have made a big mess out of it. I should ask you what to do first." He said, you know, he went and did it on his own, you know. The thing is, though, and God wanted to know what he had learned. Well, in the next panel, apparently he didn't learn a lot because the last panel looked just like the first panel. Because he's leaning on the shovel, looking at a little pile of dirt on the ground, going, "There's something I should have remembered. What was it?" Because when we're not in the middle of a bad situation, it's real easy to think, "Look how good I can do everything on my own." But when it all hits the fan and goes to a big mess, doggone it, we're scrambling around going, "What do I do? What do I do?" What you should have done to start with is say, "God, look, this is my problem. This is what I should do." Now, we tend to keep God on the shelf. You know, we use that plastic Jesus on our dashboard. Well, we keep that little statue of him sitting on our shelf so we can go get him whenever we need him, and we just go around the rest of the day ignoring him. Thing is, though, we need to don't be talking to that plastic Jesus or don't. I mean, it's nice to have a little cross to remind you and stuff like that, or a picture of Jesus. That's nothing wrong with that. But we got to remember we're talking to a living creator who loves us. And he will take the time to listen to us. You know, just like that, those little panels, you know, the final panel, the guy's sitting there in the panel. Something I'm supposed to remember, still leaning on that shovel, looking at that little pile of dirt on the ground. Well, from this story, I thought, well, God, what he's telling me is that I'm not giving the problem to him, you know, and I need to give it to him earlier before I go and make a big mess out of it, you know, and that ain't what I've been doing. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to start making a habit because it's hard to break old habits. You know, first thing I want to do is go fix it myself, and then see what God has for his idea. If I can't do it myself, then I go let him finish it up for me. You know. Well, sometimes I end up just stewing in my own juices. I end up in that hole for quite a while, because if I had started off correctly, I wouldn't be in that giant hole I was in. Well, I started trying to change my ways, and with God's help, I improved. And I start learning to have more faith that God's going to provide, and learning that He does. He does come through, and He does take care of me. Well, I don't remember how long it was later, some months later, I had one more dream. Now, I thought that was the whole message. Maybe God wanted to give it to me in pieces, just so I could learn at my own pace, and not shove me too hard, because He knew how much I could. It said in the Bible, God will never give you more than you can handle. Sometimes I wonder about that, because the more tough times we go through, the stronger my faith gets. And right now I'm ready to go, waters part, mountain be moved, and expect it to happen, because I got real strong faith. But pretty tough times now. I mean, we ran out of actually food money a few weeks ago, and we don't know how we're going to make our light bill without being turned off right now. But I think that'd be right now is the best time to do this series, because it's not when everything is wonderful and gloriful and everything. It's telling you that I have a strong faith God is going to provide, because He always does. Well, I don't know if it was some months later, because this story I remember it from so long back, but some period later, I had another dream, and God gave me one more panel. There was a missing panel to that picture. Okay? Now get ready for it. Okay, here's the trick. Yeah, it's a little bit of maybe not what you quite expected. In the panel, it has the little stick figure. And the only thing in it is the little stick figure. He's standing there with the little hands in there going, "Thank you, God. I appreciate what you do for me. I want you to guide me on my way. Praise you. Thank you, God." And that's all that's happening. Now, God showed me this, and then He asked me a question. He said, "What do you see in the picture?" And I said, "Well, I see the little stick figure praising you and thanking you for what you did." He said, "What do you see in the picture?" I said, "Well, what I just said, I see the stick figure." And he said, "No, what don't you see in the picture?" And I looked, and the shovel was missing. Think about it. Because both of those pictures from the 5-part one, he was leaning on a shovel, because that shovel represented what he felt was his own ability to fix the problem. I got this blasted shovel, and as long as I got this shovel, I can do it on my own. I'm not going to let go of my shovel. Well, even when God was pulling him out of the hole, that shovel was dangling from one hand. He was still grasping onto that shovel. "God, I know I'd give it to you." Sent him right there, bold facing God, going, "I give you the problem, God, for no, and I know to do that." But he was still holding on to that stupid shovel, because he hadn't totally changed his mindset, and to give the problem over to God, to ask Him first and not go digging for it. And I can tell you right now, I still have a shovel. Now, I've learned to go stick it at least in the closet, not carry it around with me. Okay? But unfortunately, I know that somewhere around here, that shovel is still in my closet, so to speak, because I don't always go to God first. And I guarantee you, most of the time when I don't, it becomes a mess, So the idea was, God said, "Get rid of the shovel. Depend on me 100%. Now, that doesn't mean you're supposed to sit in the middle of the floor of your house and go, "I'm hungry, I got no food." Well, God may want you to get up off your butt and go out and get a job. He may want you to make a few phone calls or do something. But make sure you ask Him first what He wants you to do first. Okay? That's pretty much what He taught me. It took some unlearning and then some learning to unlearn the shovel that I've been carrying around on my back for years, and to learn to don't go fetch it for every little thing. But God was going to point me in a direction that I needed to be. So that's just another little testimony there from me. It's amazing how you can learn things when you actually shut up and listen to what God has to tell you. That kid, the only way you get me to shut up is do it when I was sleeping, I guess. So y'all have a blessed day. I hope you're enjoying this Minor Miracle series, and I will be doing some more. And God bless you.